This is certainly a high watermark for Republicans. I mean, this is probably about as many seats as they could hold. A lot of where the races are competitive, it's not competitive, in my opinion, it's not competitive because of legislative stuff. It's more about a local issue. In some ways, the county commissioner's race here in Wake County may decide the U.S. Senate race. I mean, that level of turnout that's affected by the two parties warring on the balance of power on the commission. You know, in some places you have incumbents that have difficulty as a result of just some local thing. Waddell down in the southeastern part of the state's in real trouble because of a cruise he took in the middle of the legislative session, and that's being portrayed as his lack of interest. Michelle Presnell up in the mountains is some consternation, sort of an Eric Cantor dynamic, like local people don't feel like she's been responsive enough, and that may cause some challenge. But you know, it's very few of the legislative races where people's sense of what legislators did is playing out in their elections. I think education has become more of an issue, particularly in the suburban counties, just because the Hagan campaigns had a superiority of resources to push that message point out. And so we didn't see anything in the polling early in the election cycle that said people were specifically concerned about public education as an issue motivating them as voters. But the fact that they've kept hearing it from the Hagan campaign is still hard for me to reconcile. The legislature passed a 7% pay raise for teachers, but there's still some expression of, but we didn't do enough for education. That's not typical in North Carolina politics. Typically when an education pay raise came in, there was some sense that education had been tended to. So there's some other dynamic at play there. I don't think, looking at the races specifically, the Republicans are likely to come back in January of next year at or about the same numbers, I think at this point. And again, I think it's going to break a little later.